All right, good morning. Good morning. So I just want to start off and say that looking at this daily chart, yesterday's close was kind of raunchy. We got kind of like a nice failed breakout, really, and it closed back down low. Not ideal. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, this pattern, if I was trading this on a small time frame, it's kind of a nice possible short opportunity. The only thing that I don't really care for is that the pattern's not super extended, like way above the moving average. We are kind of right around it. We're checking above and below. So, you know, I like to play a reversal, obviously, when we're extended a little bit past more so, but the pattern is kind of top heavy. But the S&P 500 generally goes up over time, so we'll see if this plays out or not. If today we get really good follow through to the downside, that'd be pretty interesting. But if we close back up above the moving average, then, you know, anyone's guess again. But we'll see how today goes. We are gapping down a small amount, I'm pretty sure. Yes. It's like 30 points, not really that small actually. We do have a nice pattern on our 5-minute chart that just went into the moving average and rejected and did push a new extreme, the retest, and we're actually pushing a new extreme again. We have no economic releases this morning. There was nothing. Yeah, there was nothing that I was really interested in before market open, and nothing I'm really interested in after market opens in my session. So not really going to focus on that. No major news or anything like that that I'm really looking at or noticing. So it's just going to be, you know, really focus on that price action. Good morning, man. How are you? But I will say that, you know, going into the open, we do have a nice, fairly clean downtrend with the gap down. Daily charts looking pretty nasty. We'll see kind of how it goes. I'm going to be fairly patient today, I think. It's Friday and I really only want to take setups. I mean, it should be this way every day, but I'm going to try to be a little extra cautious because I don't have a real certain feel this morning either on what direction I really want to play into. I have some mixed feelings, so I'm going to be careful. Basically, I'm going to trade just what the market shows if it shows like exactly what I want to see, and that's pretty much it. Really want to make sure not to make a mistake today going into the weekend. Try to be super disciplined again. Discipline's been doing fairly well. We've been doing pretty well the last little bit on not taking things that we're not supposed to, and the discipline of actually pulling the trigger is slowly improving compared to last week. This week was better. So hopefully next week, again, it'll be even better. And tomorrow I'm going to put out a weekly recap video of all of the trade setups that did happen this week and what should have been the systematic outcome. And then what I did to try again to help me realize I need to just system it up. Just do it. Stop overthinking it. Because there were some really nice trades that played out this week, actually. Some really nice ones. We had actually a three-legged pullback that happened in the moving average. I was watching this two-legged one as I was like prepping this morning, and I didn't take it just because, again, it was pre-market. It would have ended up stopping me out and then rolled over, which generally I don't like the three. So we'll see how this plays out. It's quite a nice spike off that next check of the extreme. If we can regain 30. Did go lower and then come all the way back to the extreme relatively quickly, so we'll see. There's definitely some buyers down there. I have our levels marked out for the daily lows on my other chart. As far as liquidity points go, kind of in this range, into this valley, there's really only two. And I've got them marked already. And if we get underneath that, then we'll figure it out as we go. I'd be surprised if we got that low, but I mean, whew, who knows? Nice push. So we do have a W kind of reversal here on the 5-minute chart, testing the other extreme now from when we got the low 3. Some pretty big rejection, to be honest. See if our buyers are still in the similar location. Doesn't look the greatest. Checking the first liquidity point, there have been some stops underneath there. New low a day. We do have the buyers that were here just before market open, so we'll see. That's the true swing point for the 5-minute swing that happened, so we'll see. Oh, never mind, went right through it. Move my red line to this swing point. I'm gonna get rid of my green one, and sellers are still in control. So we had a small trap that happened. Should be yellow. Pretty big push, really. For a gap down, we barely were able to go up at all. We have pretty aggressive selling coming back in. These are our two daily lows from the previous two daily candles from back here, these two swing points. With our approach so far, it certainly looks like the market wants to check below them. Yeah, that is very fast. Agreed. That is a very, excuse me, aggressive push to the downside quickly. And we are very far away from our moving average right now. So if we set up a mean reversion to kind of relieve some of the pressure, would be more of what my eyes would go to. But we'll see what happens here. There's not a lot of areas of interest down here, to be honest, other than the lows. Pretty high volume. 70,000 contracts for a period. Big volume. Boy, we have a lot of volume. Whew. Got a little bit of like flagging action happening down here. Some big orders getting filled. That's some chunky movement. Goes a little bit, and then to the short side, it's like it's a big flush of orders getting like sent in. Big market selling. Spikes like that. Takes out like 6-7 points worth of contracts in one flick. Reacted from the liquidity point perfectly. Getting closer to our lows of these other daily candles. Ultimately, this one's a little bit more important, but I marked them both. Feels like they want to check under it pretty much right away here. Once we get under it, then we'll see if there's business to be done more to the downside or if we get a rest. Getting really extended though. I didn't see any real negative news or anything from overnight or from this morning. So it's kind of just feels like it's the technicals, right? Like visually looking at that daily chart looks bad. Really, it looks like we had a pretty big failed breakout at all-time high. It's going to want to come down and test the lower areas of the range that push that all-time high, that last push up. And if we don't find support there, then it looks like a big double top potential. We're right there. The first daily candle. Little check below with quite a big buy up above. First double test relief right there. That may give us a little bit of move to the long side, but I don't know. Not executable by me anyway. A little bit of relief. pattern makes sense for kind of what's following through. Happened just above that daily candle low. See if we get back up above the swing point or if we stall out here. With a quick push back up, there'd be lots of late short sellers to the party that would have got squeezed out and kind of panicking down here when bigger boys started to take profit. I don't know if the push is done. It's a big 5-minute candle. We got 1 minute left on the close of it. Got a little inside action happening here on the 1 minute. There's our check above. Still getting some follow through. We counter rallied enough now that we've corrected our stretch. Price has really extended from the moving average, so that is quite a buy up. Woo! What a counter rally. That's a V and a half right there. It didn't actually check below the candle, yeah, the daily low, which is like interesting to me, very interesting. Came all the way back up now to test what we lost. So there's definitely still people stuck. This is kind of one of those situations where if the market pulled back right here and gave an entry off of the 20 moving average, I would play a high 1, anticipating, right, all the leftover shorts that still aren't out of this market would be ditching their position in this test, and then as soon as it starts to grow the second time, should get extension out of it if that happens. Wow, eh? Wow. That was some volatility right there. Quick 30-point move down, quick 25-point move back up. Nutty. clean reversal pattern style here with this big test below and then close back above the bottoming candles, but no fucking, it's too big, no signal. Is this gonna give me a first candle to make a high entry? Nope. It's definitely not what I was looking to form here. I can't buy above this candle now. Risk is too big. And it looks like we're trying to lose our moving average now. Technically our 5-minute chart didn't gain anything. We didn't close back above what we lost. The 23 lows, we tested back up in and are rejecting. Back down into this valley now. Wow. Wow. Talk about a good day to sit on my hands and be careful. So it's, I mean, it's respecting that trap level, right? The yellow lines are like extra strong indicators for me, but I'll be honest and say that that V back up that far, that big, I was not expecting respect of that level again, but we got it so far. Come all the way back down and test our, basically the entry of our reversal. The fact that we got rejected back down that far though, we may actually go right back down and see a low and test underneath that candle. Yeah, me neither. I was potentially interested in that recovery entry here, but it didn't set up at all. Not at all. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The reason that I mark this swing point as yellow, the way, so like I do like a general, like the way that I use swing highs and swing lows, and the way I'm gonna get like kind of lean on if I'm short or long is like the stair stepping and stuff like that, right? And here we did have like a new low that tried up, we went lower, and then it reversed up. So we kind of have a potential reversal happening. But then when that immediately goes right back down and breaks below the low, and we don't hold that higher low then and continue in the direction of the potential reversal, that tells me that it was like a liquidity trap, or that's how I read it. You know, it trapped a lot of people into getting long, and then we squeezed strong out. So there was a bigger player that needed that to happen. So I mark them as yellow because if the market retests that area, it has a stronger chance of going in that same direction. It did kind of respect it this morning, but I would have never guessed that it would off a move like that. That's for sure. Like I was not expecting it at all. I knew that it was kind of crazy when I looked at the volume in the first couple like 5-minute candles. That was big volume. Yeah, we're at like 300,000 contracts in A period. That is a very large amount of volume compared to normal. Almost double like the average A period. Like 150 is like standard. 150 to 200. 200 is more on the higher end of like the mean, but yeah, 300 is a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of volume. Yeah, I agree one time. I mean, for me, the only pattern that was actionable was technically this. I like that as a mean reversion setup to the moving average catch up, but it was huge, like 4607. Yeah, 4602. And then I need a couple points or a couple ticks below that. Like I wasn't gonna risk like 6 points. It did give out 2 to 1 easy, but for my restrictions on this account, I can't really do that. That goes back to the same conversation of like 2 weeks ago and saying that micros would work better on something like that, because then I could actually still take the trade and keep it within the same risk. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it is large volume this morning. Oh, I'm getting trading view dings. Wild. Looks like we're trying to, I mean, we're testing our low. I wonder if we get a new low here. Hey, morning, man. 3 losers and 1 winner, and you finished net positive. That's damn good risk management right there, my friend. Oh, nice. Yep. I was literally just saying that the only way that I could have traded that is if I had micros and not minis, because I mean, that is a beautiful mean reversion like trigger right there for me. One out of my 3 systems, I would have ran it to the moving average catch up. So it did give a nice 2-to-1, more than 2-to-1, but on this mini account, I can't take like 6-7 point risk on one trade. I just can't do it. So nice, man. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, 1 winner and 3 losers and you finish net positive. That's very good risk management. That means you had, you know, nice big winner and some small losers. Still not breaking below that low, eh? Even after that push back down. That was the only actionable pattern that I was interested in so far this morning, but not actionable because too big of risk. But the pattern presentation did work out exactly for what you'd want. And it followed through in like not even any pullbacks, man. Just one timed away from the entry. Ugh, beautiful. I did get the alert that you did. I actually replied to your reply. Thank you guys for watching and like, you know, checking out that stuff. That's pretty neat. I didn't realize that people would. I was actually looking at the stats on some of the page the other day. There's surprisingly more people looking at stuff than I expected. I was like, oh wow. I started this literally just for myself, really, right? Like I wanted the video journal more than anything. Well, the comment that I saw was just that it said nice trade. Did you comment something other than that? Okay. No, I definitely didn't see the other comment. It did not, it actually never came through. The comment that you said nice trade on came through and like told me when I logged in the next day, but that's the only one I saw. Market's still respecting the down stepping. It's trying to go for a new low again. It's a good question, actually. I'll check. Seems as I can't really do anything with the market right now. No, it does not come to the email. I say that. Let me check. Yeah, no, it does not go to my email, my friend. when I logged back into YouTube the next day, it like comes up in the notifications and told me that someone had commented and allowed me to see it, but it was just that one. You can just write it here if you want. We got a 1 tick poke, underneath this little small low, still not breaking below low a day. Bullish close. I'm too nervous to take any kind of long position here though, because this would create a lower or a higher low after we respected that trap level. So I'm really not interested in a long unless we checked below first. It's really the only thing I can do. If it creates a higher low with any kind of conviction, then we're probably going to come back up and test somewhere up in here again. And at that point, then our price would be coiling. What an open though. Not typical. Not typical and on extremely large volume. It is slowly tapering off a little bit though. We closed A period at 311,000-ish. We're 10 minutes into B period and we've only got 60,000 so far. So if the rest of the context of the day wouldn't happen, this is kind of a nice long entry location off of the pattern local, but combining it with context, not so much. I have no confidence in it whatsoever without checking below the low a day first. I just checked 1 tick below again. That would have been the stop out right there. Still hasn't broke low a day though. I think we're 1 tick away so far. Yeah, 250 is low. A 100% correct. Yes, absolutely correct. That is exactly correct. There was, so that trade that was yesterday morning was actually very similar to this presentation, right? We had some inside action and then a check below the inside action and a close above the inside action. Perfect mean reversion entry, and I closed it purely emotionally because I knew that I was up a little bit over the last few days, and I made an emotional decision. It was completely wrong. Like, it was wrong. The trade tested the low and held, and then I even have written down on all my rules that if I'm in a trade and it tests the low of the trade and then comes back up, getting out at break even as it comes back up is almost never a good idea, because you just held through the retest. Why would you get out after it held the retest? But yeah, that trade, it worked out literally perfect for what I should have done and executed, and went right to the moving average right after. There's our test for a new low a day. Went to the moving average, which was my target, right after. It was purely a emotional response about not wanting to lose, and there was actually no valid reason to close the trade, for sure. It's funny, like, you'll put the trade on, or I'll put the trade on, and I'll accept the risk. Nice, we checked below both of those daily candles now. That's what we were looking for. Now, if there's business to be done to the downside, we should get it. If not, we may get a little bit of a return rally. I lost my train of thought, but yeah, no, you are absolutely correct. Oh, when I put the trade on, I accept the risk, right? Like, that's why the stop loss is where it is. And if the trade doesn't go to that stop loss point, the trade is still valid 100%. And I have all of my 3 strategies designed so that my stop loss is not just like a numeric number. I do it so that that area is actually in validation of what I was trying to do. You are 100% correct. It was a very emotional decision at the time, because it retested quickly and came back up. My rationale at the time was like, oh, my entry was a quick reversal, mean reversion entry. It should take off right away after the entry, and really it did. Like, I literally had to hold the trade for like 30 more seconds, and it would have been like big into the friggin' green. But instead, I got so focused on that like 1 minute candle that I kind of lost sight of what I was actually doing. It even happened at like my perfect zone that I had marked out from before open. I was like, this is where I want to do business. We get to that gap fill and get the right signal, it'll be a beautiful like reversal entry. And it all happened exactly like I had planned, and then I ditched the trade really quickly. Got too focused on that, and the trade was 100% valid. That just comes down to me still having, I'm kind of like on those stepping stones right now of really trying to push for a systematic approach a lot more. Like, I defined my 3 strategies the other day a lot more, and so I use like the 4-step system. Like, I have a condition, an entry, a stop, and a target, and I have reasons for all of them, and I have a method of managing the trade when it's on, of when I'm allowed to do, like, when I'm allowed to move stop to break even, when I'm allowed to take profit early. Like, I have a full set system now for each step, so that I can try to actually deploy it and remove all my decision making when it's like, when you're in the heat, right? I want it to be like a full systematic approach, so that I can just, okay, the system that I've designed for a reason says for me to do this, so this is what I do. So I don't have to, think about it and weigh the options at the time, because there's not enough time. Trading off the 1 minute chart, there is no time to do that. But I'm still adapting to that. I'm still missing lots of opportunities. I'm still not. I will say that this week I did actually allow 2 of my trades that I took to fully develop and do what I was supposed to do with them. And that actually felt really, really good. I haven't done that in a long time. For the first 2 or 3 weeks that I was trading again, I'd get to like 2-3 points, and I would just I'd take it right away, not really remembering why I actually took the trade in the first place. Like, did I get into the trade to scalp 2 or 3 points, or did I get into the trade because I was playing a swing to swing, or like because I was, expecting the move from here to here to happen? So that's what I'm trying to correct, and it is working. So I'm just gonna keep at it. and my reviewing and my journaling is getting like way more detailed about that. So I'm hoping that after I do this for a few weeks, it's really gonna like show me and grow my confidence in what I'm doing to like purely systemize the couple systems that I use, and be okay with like, you know, taking that loser or 2 losers or 3 losers in a row and still doing it the exact same way the next time. Sounds easy, right? But it's like the hardest thing for me. We had an inside indecision after this push. The pullback didn't go lower before it closed up, but we do have a little bit of pop happening. We did get below our intended location for that push down. Like we were kind of looking for it to come test here, and we now have. So market achieved what it was trying to do. Now do we get follow through and we actually break out below that low, or do we absorb the liquidity and go back up in? Did get kind of like a hammer candle style close from that low, which is interesting. Right off of like the major liquidity point. How's our B period volume forming? We're 20 minutes in, we're at 130,000. The risk to reward on that yesterday morning's trade was really good too, because I was in on 2 points and I think the reward was 7 points or something like that, or 8 points. It was like a 3-to-1 trade minimum. It was very good. When you get really far stretched away from the moving average like that and get that signal just like here, the risk to reward all the way back to the moving average is a lot. Those are great trades. This is our first attempt to short, first entry short. I'm not interested in first entry short, even though it did kind of one time. We did have hesitation here where we got an inside candle, so it resets my 5 candle count. But it never did make highs, so it could still go, but no trade for me. See what happens if we get extension here. It does look like it wants to test extension. Retesting the entry of this low. If we can get extension and a failure, we trying for a higher low. Kind of looks like it. If we got a good clean 2-leg signal for a 2-leg pullback failure, I could take it. I feel like I'm right where I want to be as far as the amount of trades per day, because I'm getting signals. I'm in my 2.5 hour session. I'm usually getting 1 to 4, which is perfect. That's exactly where I want to be. So I don't want to make any adjustments in that way. I just need to get better at taking them all. The amount of signals I'm getting, though, I'm liking it. I don't want any more than that. Get some inside candles here. If this 2-legged pullback forms, it's gonna be quite beautiful because it's gonna tag right into this moving average. This could be a nice beauty setup if it forms right here. Get a little extension above 97.25 and fail with a good signal candle. Two-legged pullback achieved. See how price action forms here. Not ideal. No, it's not going to trigger what we wanted. Didn't reject the liquidity. So it looks like our higher low is starting to form. We're going to come retest what we lost, these lows. There's the retest of the lows that we lost. $175,000 in B period. We got 5 minutes left on. Still pretty high relative volume. No signal here though, so scratching that theory. $10-point hourly candles. 10 points. It's gotta be way more than 10 points. We're looking at like 30 points. Oh, that's a half an hour candle. Oh, my hourly chart kind of... There we go. 14 to 89. Or juicers. They are juicers. Oh, missed that. My bad, my bad. That's all right, man. So like, just remember that the patterns are always the same. Like if you're a candlestick pattern trader, like for me, the patterns are always the same. When your ATR is large, you just size down. When your ATR is really small in times of low volatility, you just size up, so your risk stays the same. So I'm a one contract trader because my max risk per trade is $200. So 4-point risk maximum. That's like, I try to keep it under that, but that's like the maximum. And if I get to the point where the candles are really small, I just double it up. I just 2 contract trade, and then I still manage, because like what would normally take maybe 3 or 4 points to get into might only take 1 or 2 points to get into. So you just double your size and the math all stays the exact same. You're not actually increasing your risk because the ATR is much smaller. Now, to be honest, the last like couple weeks have been extremely large ATR. Like the last like 2 weeks, man, 3 weeks is much higher than normal, right? If you go back even just to like halfway through November, all the way back into September and stuff, we get periods of large candle days, but not like this. Like this is big volatility. So as long as you pay attention to like, you know, the size of the daily candles, man, your average true range for like the time periods that you're trading in, just size accordingly. And you can always keep, you know, similar risk to rewards going with no real risk increase. As long as you keep, right? You just do the math that way. Size up a little bit. You're not sizing up in the same average true range. So it's not like, you know, you're doubling your risk actually. You're just increasing your size because you need to make the same amount of like risk to reward. So we've done 3 pushes now. A little bit of bearish signal here coming off the underside, but we are above our moving average now. We tested it once and are getting rejected. We may test back below here, then it may become a ceiling. Yes and no. In my experience, over the last 2 years, now I haven't traded full time over the last 2 years, but I've been exposed to multiple different like types of market scenarios. For me, the patterns they're always the same. They're just smaller. So the candles are going to look smaller, stuff like that. But my setups, like, I don't really use like a real big breakout strategy or anything like that. I use like a mean reversion when price is extended, and then I use like a trend following trade for a specific condition when we have like a stair stepping market. The market is always either stair stepping or range bound. It's just sometimes it's a lot smaller candles, in my experience anyway. But I don't know how you trade or what your setups are, so it absolutely may affect your trading. Like, definitely don't take my experience as anything like that. That's just my experience. Less setups. Whoops. Just gotta the futures are always changing. I mean, all the markets are always changing, so you just got to adapt, right? But some of the basic concepts and like understanding, it will all still be the same. It's just got to size differently and have like more reasonable expectations. But my trades are all still kind of the same. Just like this would happen the same as it would if the candles were smaller, right? Stair stepping still all applies the same. To me, I'm actually the polar opposite, to be honest. I actually don't do as well during the volatility times because there's way less trades that I can take. Because of the restrictions on my account, it's like I have to, during high volatility times, the candles are so big, and because I'm a candlestick pattern trader, I use candlesticks at certain locations as like my entry signal or my exit signal. So for example, here, when this candle closed as my entry signal, like I would have had to use pretty much most of my day's risk allowance to get into one trade. Whereas normal, I wouldn't have to do that. I could like lose maybe like 3 times before I would like cap myself out. But this would, you know, in this type of volatility, when the candles are so big, it's the same setup. It's just, it costs so much more money to get into the same setup. The payout, I mean, the math works out to be the same, right? The payout is also bigger, but it's just, I end up taking less setups during high volatility because I can't afford it. Which is why I said that maybe I should have a micros account for times like super high volatility, because then I could size down, right? There's no, I can't size down from one contract. That's as low as I could go unless I go to micros. And then I could size it. I could use multiple micros to achieve my same $100 or $200 risk per trade that I want to achieve. But I'm not to the point where I'm trying to manage 2 accounts or anything like that. This is all just me learning still. Look at that though. Like, this is something that I have noticed so many times in the last month. That low 2 setup or high 2, like the 2-legged move, when it fails and it doesn't continue to go with the trend, it is such a strong signal in the opposite direction. Like, happened again here. It didn't set up perfectly from liquidity like I'd want to see. It went a little bit higher and it set up here. This was the second entry short, and it, like, when it loses, it is such a strong signal in the opposite direction. It's like just as strong piece of information as it is if it does work for you. I've been keeping track of every time that the low 2 or high, like the second entry trade fails for trend continuation, how good of a signal is it for me to reverse the position on the stop out and get in with the opposite direction? And it's like overwhelmingly positive results. It's pretty neat piece of information, which I really like, because I like the setups that when I lose or when I get stopped out, it tells me a nice piece of information, you know, as well. It doesn't just like stop me out and then often go where I wanted it to go. Usually. Anyways, that was quite a rant. Hopefully I answered maybe some of what you wanted to hear. Everyone's experience is going to be different for sure. It's kind of the beauty of trading. It's a good pushback. Happened from the right liquidity spot. The failure of the low 2 held that moving average, even though we had a bearish signal, right? We had already failed the low 2. Hold the average, boom, blast off, all the way back up to the swing point that pushed our low. I will say that now that I'm trying to be like super disciplined and only taking my couple setups if they're like actually perfect, I have had like the FOMO urges like way more than normal, because before I would just kind of give into it, but now it's like there's times where I'm really like, man, I feel, it always starts out like that, I feel like this market's gonna go right here right now, you know, I need to get in. And there's definitely times where I have been right, but there's been lots of times where I've been wrong too. But the urge to trade, to FOMO in is much stronger than it ever has been, because I sit on my hands a lot more than I ever did. What do you guys think? You think we're going to respect the stair stepping still? Or do you think that because we finally broke onto the low and we tested liquidity, we're going to come back up above? Technically, we have not broke the swing points yet. Still, we're still down, like downtrending locally, kind of. Just with huge swings. To circle this part for the review. High one entry. Only one tick of extension so far. Closed at its high though. This is an important zone. A break and a close above 28. would be much more bullish. A little bit of indecision there. We're gonna continue. There we go. Got another one tick up. We get our push above 28 here. There it is. Now, do we break above our trap level from this morning as well? Ooh, ooh, ooh. We did. New high day right there. What a push. Made sense, right? Right where we had kind of drawn out the lows. We're really looking for that market to get below the lows. Needed a test there. Did not have follow-through business. And it failed the breakout and reversed very aggressively. For now. Maybe yesterday's session low point. If we can close back up above by the end of the session, might not be too bad. The bigger picture on the daily chart though, that failed breakout with a close way back up down in is just still daunting. We actually gap fill now, we puts us above yesterday's low point. We are kind of extended. Done a few pushes. Achieved a high a day. What a 5-minute candle close. Closed at its full extreme, opened at almost its full low, almost like it was like one tick of tail, maybe two. Nutty. Right back up. Oh, we even poked in above. This is our yesterday daily candle low. Had price consolidation here overnight, coiling, kind of in the middle of it right now. What a rally. No chill on that thing. We thought that first little branch of volatility was big at the time. Sheesh. Now look at it. What a squeeze. I'll be honest, I didn't even mark levels above. I only marked levels down because of the type of day that I was anticipating, and now look at us. Back into yesterday's price action. This is our overnight. Overnight swing high. Got lots of little points through there. I mean, it looks like we want to achieve gap fill for sure. We may get a mean reversion trade around this location. We're getting fairly stretched, fairly extended. This is quite a push with no pullback really. We can achieve gap fill and get a nice mean reversion trade for a cool down. Yeah, true. I agree. The daily chart is slightly intimidating to the downside, but you know, one thing to remember is these Indexes, man, generally go up over time, even on big corrections. They just always go up. Yeah, there you go. Yep. We're getting our little bit of a first pullback here. No real actionable signal here for me. And it didn't make it to my zone of interest either, so. This seems like the perfect time to go refill my coffee. I'll be right back. All right. Maybe we get a two-legged pullback to participate in. Two-legged pullback to the moving average. First entry longs happening. pretty good in golf signal bar. We're trying to hold a higher low. We have inside candle right now on 5-minute chart, still printing now another candle, but one inside candle so far. Not interested in this higher low signal. I'd rather a little bit of a lower low. And then a move up. Some indecision going on here. We're price coiling. $38.50. Might be setting up. We need to see at least a double bottom, $38.50. Ideally, a test below it. But I would accept a double bottom. And then a nice clean, you know, get it information to get long from. Nice signal. And then we look at to take it for extension up over 49.50. Okay. Step one complete. Don't go too far. It's not ideal. I'm not gonna lie, that's not ideal. closed on its low. We are getting buys right away. The engulf candle would be pretty big point wise. We did have enough buys to get back up most of the candle. That's not horrible. Especially if we can check a tiny bit below and then reverse up again. It's not the worst. Do we just buy up instantly or do we check a tiny bit below first? I would have rathered below first. It's looking more and more like it's about to leave me behind. Shoot. I wasn't getting perfect signal, so I was really hoping that it was going to do what I wanted first, but it did not. Demand was too high. Ooh. Came all the way back down, eh? Kind of really FOMOing. I want to just buy long, but at the same time, I don't. Like, I'm fighting the urge because it didn't actually set up the way that I wanted to see, especially after we closed below. It might leave me behind, but did give a really cheap re-entry too. But at the same time, because it gave that really cheap re-entry, do I really want it? Maybe demand wasn't as high as you think. The locations where I wanted to do business, but looks like it is holding the retest. Both players, sellers are interested above and buyers are interested below. It's definitely not the ideal presentation for that two-legged pullback. It's given so much time down here now. Really wanted to see the demand quickly overwhelm. Which it started to, but then it really struggled. we can get back up above 42.50. Yep. Now we at least have a candle making a high on the 5-minute chart. We could see our final target now. Came all the way back down. It really gave like a 1-point entry. It's kind of impressive that it held after that. There's our break over the middle swing point. Oh. Sorry about that. Mailman got here. Dogs are barking. Well, it looks like it played out. Should get a test above 49.5. This one slipped by. I really didn't. I'll be honest and say that this buy up candle, when it closed back down low, I was 100% okay with that. And in fact is a decent signal in itself, because it's kind of like a shooting star but in the wrong location, which is usually a very good signal the other way. But I wanted to see it test it and then reject instead, and I would have bought long, but it didn't. It just kind of went as soon as the candle closed. And then I fought the idea of buying the pullback in my head, but then when it closed at the low, I didn't, because for one, I wasn't getting the perfect signal that I wanted down here at the area, and then I was also getting potential engulfing candle the other way. So then I had two things that weren't like 100%, and I just fought the urge. Even though it did give, nothing invalidated the trade again, it just didn't really set up how I really wanted it. This is another pattern though that I've noticed happen a fair amount of times and leave me behind, but often it doesn't give this red candle. If we get the first buy up and it, you know, closes back at its low, there was buyers here. The second one goes and often just goes. That retest back down kind of really made me lose all faith in it, and I was willing to accept that the market was just going to leave me behind. But yeah, yep, it's a good one for the review again. It's what we were waiting for, right? Two leg actually pulled back to the moving average. Boom, full extension. And it broke out really clean too. This thing has, you know, nice runner potential. I mean, it's already a big trade off risk to reward wise. Buy over the signal candle, which was 40.25, 36.25. So you were at 4-point risk. You've definitely 3x to that now. the concepts behind the strategies, they work really well, but I'm still getting used to, I guess really what it comes down to is what I'm allowing to be a true signal or not. So I need to get the proper price action in the area to trigger the trade in. Like this one was perfect. Risk was just too big. This one wasn't like super perfect, but the buy up candle triggered the long action in my brain, but it didn't close where I wanted to see. So I would want to have tested and then reverse, but I guess in that regard too, I need to start keeping track of this, but I could take the trade off the initial signal candle and then have my stop a little bit below so that it could still do both variations, right? It would allow me to hold within a 1 or 2 tick poke and then reject. And then it would also allow me to be in if it didn't do that and just went. It allows it to work for both options. The only downside to that way is that I will have more losers in doing so, because there'll be the option that it didn't actually form either and I now caught a knife. That could happen too. I guess there's a price you pay for confirmation, basically. All right, learning, growing confidence, learning. Getting a high 1 entry off the retest of the breakout top. A bit of indecision here again. Didn't get 5 candles in a row. We are not super stretched anymore. So it could go off a high 1. Maybe it gives another 2-leg pullback. So for science, this is kind of like the ideal situation for a leg 1, leg 2 count, because it happened as a straight spike, one timing all the way from the low. There was never a pullback. This candle wasn't really a pullback on this time frame. We didn't go lower than the previous candle, and it still did go higher. So no pullback classification for me. This was our first pullback. So we actually have like 90 to 50. We have like a 60-point move, leg 1 and 2. So do we get a measured move, another 60-point move from here up? It would put us at like 96, like here. I'm very interested. Whoops, no, not grid. For science, to see if we get a move somewhere up into like here. For leg 1, leg 2 measured move. I know it seems crazy, but seen it happen that way a lot when this is the result. I mean, it could fizzle right out, sure, but curious. Record the outcome for fun. I like measured moves from legs 1 to 2 off of like a strong spike reverse like that. It's a big move, but it, you know, who knows? Still struggling here. $12.23. How'd our volume hold up for the rest of the session? Man, we ended up with 200,000 contracts or higher in A, B, and C period. That's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Oh, we achieved. I can feel the urge and emotion right now because I didn't get the last 2-legged pullback here. That it's like, oh, you can't miss another one. But I already know that this one's not as nice looking as this one for the simple fact that on the larger time frame, this big bar as the last push bar, followed by this, you could say is almost a hanging man candle, is not good for a quick pullback. Unlike this one looks better. This one doesn't have like relatively huge exhaustion bar, right? It's not bigger than the previous bars. This one is like large compared to the accumulation area. And then followed by the hanging man. We're actually trying to get through the moving average now as well. Even if I get an engulf candle, I know it's not as good. All right, let's try and it's about to tease the entry. I know that this one was really good and this entry was good. Technically, this one is now fired, but visually, it's not the same. So I'm not gonna FOMO into this one because I know in the past, my circle of, I guess, a trade day would be similar to right now. Except I would force this trade in. It may work, I don't know, but I would force this trade in no matter what because it had the signal of the two-legged pullback, completely disregarding this other piece of information that I'm being given on this bigger time frame, solely because I would be slightly tilted that I missed a couple good entries throughout the day that all worked. So the first time that I'd get one that it was even like slightly okay, I'd like pounce really hard and then I would take an L. After missing all the good trades. I just know for me, the time of day and this presentation right here, this exhaustion, potential exhaustion bar followed by the hanging man, does not look as good as the original push. So maybe our target up here is a little ambitious, but it could take a little bit to get up there. I don't know, but this right now happening, I'm not longing, even if it does work. I just need to get a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more understanding of some of these candlestick shapes, because I know this like shooting star at the end like that is a very strong bullish signal as well, just as if it tries to engulf but closes on the low. And I knew that and I was ready for that. But this next candle didn't test the low or one tick under or anything before it reversed. So, I mean, thinking about it just straight logically, technically, I guess that should mean that the demand is higher, right? It doesn't even need to test liquidity. The demand is high enough that it's just going to go right off the bat, which is good for getting long. So I guess I need to accept that and understand that. I will be honest though that when this full engulf bear candle came back, I was like, it gave me a cheap entry, right? I literally could have got in on like 1 point, 2 points of risk, but I completely lost faith in it because of that. but it did not invalidate the trade. Again, same concept. Did it invalidate the trade? No. Trade stays on. It was just scary. Nice. See, I'm glad. My patience did pay off. Waiting for the setups I really wanted. I just, you know, there was reasons why I didn't get into them that I'll journal about, but this one, this is right here. This is at least something positive I did do today. This would, a month ago, 2 months ago, for a long period of time, this would have been a FOMO entry right there because I missed this one. Like 100%, I would have been like, forget the other piece of information I'm being given. You're not missing another two-legged pullback. So I'm glad that I did prevent that from happening. The journal and the documenting though it's really showing me what I'm like missing, that's for sure, because being patient for, you know, the 1 to 3 entries a day that I truly want, and then also having the ability to actually let them work to what they're supposed to work to, like the full reason why you took the trade, right? The two-legged pullback to the moving average is a trade for full extension. That is, so you don't like, I don't want to take the trade out on as soon as I get like a pop, right? We're looking for it to actually give extension. Those are the keys so that I can keep the risk to reward sorry, relatively high. And in doing so, those couple setups that I'm getting a day, like if I count up the points that I've missed throughout the week now, like it's a alarmingly high number, surprisingly. I didn't realize that, really, to be honest. This actually came right back down and went below our swing. So our box up here, our ambitious box for science, is pretty much voided right now already. We were wrong. I was wrong, I should say. This goes back right here to the same concept again as right here. When that two-legged pullback forms and it's not nice looking and it's not good, right? I had reasons to think that it was not going to work. It's stop out. The stop out of that signal entry creates such a like slide scalp opportunity, just like it did here. Over and over and over. Seeing that so often. Gaining knowledge. Slowly but surely. Hell yeah, one time. We're grinding. Yep. I like the idea. I like it. I like it. It's been really good practice. Like, I definitely, you know, I've got almost a full 30 days of trading back in finally. And it's been very good. Very good learning. Really like consistency wise, I've really kind of flubbed the bag on having a discipline to pull the trigger properly every time, but my journaling and everything, all my recording and everything has definitely helped me really actually see the possibility. Like if I do sit on my hands, which I seem to be pretty good at, and only take my 3 setups in the right condition, which are my circles that I keep putting in, I average out very well, like nice and profitable, like, you know, with still lots of losers in there that get paid for like easily. The math works out really well, and the strategies, like, I don't even see, I did a small amount of strategy tweaking like 2 weeks ago. Very small, basically not really a strategy tweak as much as a location that I'm going to deploy the strategy in, and that had helped a lot. My journaling from the last 2 weeks after making that one adjustment really did change a lot for the better. So getting the screen time in since I made the adjustments, I've been able to see how much of a like positive difference that will make. Now I just need to really not be just disciplined in not taking the shit trades, but I need to be disciplined in taking, you know, the trades that I'm supposed to be taking. That's my next you know, my next hurdle. I mean, the hurdle that I've been on for quite some time, but at least I'm not losing money hand over fist nowadays. That is, you know, something. I don't really want to change anything. Like after these last 2 weeks, I actually don't want to change anything about the strategies at all. There's no part of me that was like, oh, it would be better if I did it like this. There's not. The only thing I want to change is just like, you know, having the balls to just do it. Like if it's there, just do it. Don't question it so much. I know that comes from lack of confidence. So hopefully with the new style of journaling to grow my confidence, that will be the outcome. I want to be more of a participant and less of a spectator, if you will. Yeah, we're gonna keep it going for sure. Keep grinding. Gonna get there. It feels good though. It feels good. I don't there was a long time where I felt like I needed to just keep finding like that better strategy, you know. I needed to find the true strategy. I needed to find like the holy grail. I needed to find the strategy that, you know, people just are able to make money with and blah blah blah. And the more and more I've like tweaked my own couple things, it's to the point now where I'm like really starting to like see the true potential of it. I don't really feel like I need to find that strategy anymore. I feel like I just need to get the confidence to do what I've created now. So it's like a different hurdle, but it feels good. I get more excited now for trading again, like I did in the beginning. You know, I'm excited to hopefully each day to find those opportunities. You know, I'm excited to see how many opportunities the market's going to give me that match my system. Whereas there was a certain point in time where I was really excited in the beginning, and then maybe there was like a lapse of time where I was maybe not so excited. Because I think ultimately I was just like, you know, I was losing money. So didn't really have the same effect. Now I'm starting to get to the point now where I'm not losing money all the time, growing confidence in my strategies. Just gotta pull the trigger. Just pull the trigger, man, when it's right. I'm not gonna do anything with this. We did achieve our gap fill, eh? I kind of like forgot about that. We were talking about achieving gap fill that whole time on the move up. We did finally do it. That last push up gave it to us. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for sticking around, enjoying Friday with me. Hope you guys have a good weekend. And if you're trading the rest of the day, you know, good luck. Follow your plan. But yeah, that's going to be my cutoff for the day. I'm going to go take my early Friday, finish up some Christmas stuff. And I will see you guys Monday morning, same time. Take care, everyone.